That's Andrew Schuster.
I saw him at the gift presentation.
Oh, really?
I mean, the Dr. Breakdown thing. It's like,
I know. No, he's just here. I think he's leaving tomorrow.
wow. He's not married, is he?
No.
Rolf is, I know.
Yeah.
I think Rolf is the closer in age to my kids. My kids don't go to big ones. We didn't really know him.
I know he's only here for, he was actually going to meet like Monday, but decided to stay. I'm not sure.
Wow. I wish I'd turn around so I could see his face. Then I'll go back to the thing.
Yeah.
Thank you for coming.
Test. Oh, okay. All right. May I have your attention, please? All right, John and Sam. Be good. I'd like to welcome you all to our memorial service for Father Powell. It's a bittersweet time for us here. He meant so much to this institution that you just really can't put it into words. Was such a great friend to us. And since I get to talk later in the program, I'm going to introduce our executive director, Kendra Heimbach, to do the main introduction.
Not quite as tall as Ken. Thank you all for being here today and being a part of the celebration of Father Powell and the legacy that he has left here at the Brinton Museum. It is truly an honor and a privilege to be in this space with so many family members and friends of Father Powell. Unlike many of you here, I only had the privilege of knowing Father Powell for a couple of years. But through that time and through my orientation to the museum here and just learning about the history and the culture of this place and this museum, I have gained a great understanding and a great respect for the impact that Father Powell has had not only on this museum but on each and every person that he got to know. It was through his service on the museum's board of directors and his creation of the American Indian Advisory Council that he really did help to develop a culture here at the museum centered around a reverence towards the beauty and the holiness of the people of this place and the lands here. His donations and loans of Native American art and artifacts serve as the heart of our To Honor the Plains Nations exhibit. And his heartfelt service and time spent with the life of this museum really did help to build lasting relationships between the museum and the people of the Plains Nations. And like Ken said, you can't really put it into words, but we really do value everything that Father Powell did here with and for the museum. I again, just thank you for being here. I thank all of those who are going to share this stage here today and come up and offer prayers and song and memories and stories in celebration of Father Powell. And with that, I would like to invite Wallace Fairchum forward. Wallace is a member of our American Indian Advisory Council. He is the Director of Tribal Services for the Northern Cheyenne and a member of their Cultural Commission. Thank you, Wallace.
Good morning. I want to introduce an elder from our tribe, Northern Cheyenne tribe, Mr. Linwood Tauble. He's one of our instructors at Chief Belknap College, ethnobotany, really knowledgeable about our history, about our way of life. Also one of our headsmen for the Dog Soldier Warrior Society, and also a member of the American Indian Advisory Council. I'd like to invite him up to give us an opening invocation at this time, opening prayers.
Thank you. It's so nice to get invited up here by this is our whip. He's a really wonderful person. He's well respected, and it's so honored to be here when he asked me to come up. I'm going to say a prayer in the Cheyenne language. Father Powell said that he was a part of the Cheyennes, and he just was so humble and so respectful. I'd like to say a prayer celebration to guide him on his trail, to see all the wonderful people that he touched with his life. So I'd like to pray with that in honor of Father Powell. in Cheyenne. Mahir Tsekoeva. Now I'm with Jim Hatzel. That's near me doing. Marcus Derones. Is a was tomorrow. Ik heb maar de druk om wat staan hier. Mark zei, ze mannen wat staan hier. Ik heb ja, normaal. Ik heb ja, ik heb gewoon. Is het. Nou, ze was tomorrow. Ik heb ja, gewoon naar mij. Ik heb maar pivot dan nou, de dag wat staan hier. Dus. Ze gaan eerst wat zo en gedaan. Nou, eerst ja zo los gewoon. Ja, straks pivot dan. Dan kun je ook gewoon. Dan zeg ik was te mooi. Dat is het niet was te mooi. Dat is het daar. Ik naar keer de zien meer dan het doen. Maar hier is ik hoor in her normaal. Maar ik zeg, her normaal dat ik meer aardig. Jawonisch. De beste jawonisch. De beste is sinds ik het zoals. Ze hebben, ik pik dan nou staan hier. Wij horen snel. Das ich wissen, wo es dann hilft. Das ist das, na, so da. Wir wissen, bis hochtan. Maar hier is ik over, en in wonen ze verhoogd, ze honen. Hij pivot de wonen, hij jood het dan nooit, ik hoor. Pivot de wonen, hoe na. Is dat het? Meer alsjeblieft. Het is enorm. De saai hoort door. De hebben we de hebben mooi ze hebben dan nog. Is gehoord kimo. En dan de je hand door zich horen. Best time and some more such a say you to know. Is she us? Marcus. It may have protested the dance of my hood. Now, the horse was that. About the spirit that know. The nation one is sit down. My scared. Och livsomständiga. När det gårdas, när det shan, när man hear sig koiva, henne noina, bestamina nu ständiga. Henne hanen det shan nu sig koiva. Och hon är det som är det nu hon. Henne hanen.
Yash, help me have to give to cons. I'd like to thank Linwood for opening us up here with a prayer. Hear our Cheyenne language. It's a beautiful, beautiful language. Say when you hear that language, it brings a blessing, to all those that hear it. I don't know, thank Linwood for that opening prayer. Thank you. Thank you, Ken. Good morning.
Good morning.
In Cheyenne, we say Pivot and that means good morning. We also say Pivot Demano, Pivot Shiv. It's a beautiful day, it's a good day. That's how we talk to each other in Cheyenne. My name is Wallace Bertram. In Cheyenne, my Cheyenne Indian name is Little Wolf. And I'm a member of the Sukta band of Northern Cheyenne. For those of you that don't know, the Northern Cheyenne are made up of two different peoples, two different tribes. One of them were called the Sukta, and the other one were called the Cheyenne. And I come from that Sukta part of the people there. So this morning, I kind of want to add on to Linwood's prayer. I'm going to do a prayer song here. And the Cheyenne people are real spiritual, real sacred people. We view ourselves that way. Father Powell knew this, all the time he spent with our people, was in ceremonies and learning our history, and spending time with us, every year, and so, I want to share some of our language, some of our Cheyenne ways, our songs with all of you, with the family, as we, as we talk about Father Powell today, he's on his journey, back home. Being part of the American Indian Advisory Council, it was hard. The meeting was hard yesterday, coming back together for the first time. Of course, we had services in Reindeer a couple days ago as well, I knew it would be a hard week, for myself, and, without Father Powell here. But I want to thank Linwood again for his prayers, for his words. And kind of want to add on to it through song here, prayer song, if you will. So. Words to this song, our Creator, our Mother, our Father, we are praying to you. Our Creator, have pity on us. We are praying to you. Thank you, Creator, for this life that you have given us, are the words to this Cheyenne prayer song. Father Peter J. Powell devoted his life to the service of Native American people. Passed away peacefully in his home in Chicago. Surrounded by his family, he was 94 years old. Peter J. Powell was born on July 2nd, 1928 in Bryn Mawr, Pennsylvania, to William and Helena T. Powell. He attended his beloved church farm school and enrolled in Ripon College, and upon graduation entered seminary for the priesthood at the Shota House in Oconomowoc, Wisconsin. After his ordination, he married his wife of 57 years, Virginia Lee Reich, and moved to Chicago to begin his lifelong work serving the Native American community. In 1961, he founded St. Augustine Center, where with deep spirituality and a wry sense of humor, he served Native American families in the city for the next 55 years. By its end, St. Augustine's Center had served 3 generations and thousands of members of the Native American community. Father Powell was an accomplished scholar of the Plains Indians. His first major work was Sweet Medicine, 2 volumes on our Northern Cheyenne people. It was followed by the landmark People of the Sacred Mountain, which presents a history of the Northern Cheyenne chiefs and warrior societies. That book won both the 1982 National Book Award in History and the Anisfield Wolf Award in Race Relations. He began writing by kerosene lantern in Bighorn, Wyoming, and finished both works at his scholarly home, the Newberry Library in Chicago. His most recent publication, In Sun's Likeness and Power, received the Waldo F. Leland Prize, and his final study of Northern Cheyenne ledger art will be published posthumously. Father Powell is a member of the Northern Cheyenne Chiefs Society. He is one of our chiefs. The Cheyenne people have 44 chiefs within the tribe. And he was made a chief in 1964. And that's something, for, a non-Cheyenne to be a Cheyenne chief, That's really something, He is the adopted son of the late John Stanzentimber, the distinguished Northern Cheyenne tribal historian, and his wife, Josephine One Bear Stanzentimber. He spent part of every year since 1955 with the Northern Cheyenne. And he was also the adopted son of the late Tom Yellowtail, noted Apsalica holy man and Sundance priest, and his wife, Susie Yellowtail. Included amongst his many other distinctions were Guggenheim and Smithsonian fellowships, a National Endowment for the Humanities grant, several honorary doctorates. Father Powell cherished the many deep friendships he maintained through his life with his elders, mentors, colleagues, and friends and extended family. These relationships were the foundation for his deep love for others, as well as for his groundbreaking work, and were a source of lifelong happiness. Peter Powell was called to Montana from the time he was 8 years old. 1941, accompanied by his father and brother, he arrived on tribal lands in Montana, and for the first time knew he was home. Father Powell was forever pulled between the desire to be with his adopted family in Montana and the ever impactful work of St. Augustine's Indian Center in Chicago. Peter Powell's dedication to Mahayut was deep and unending. And he brought the joy of God to all manner of perhaps unexpected situations. Teaching his grandchildren to play raucous card games, driving his family across the country in a station wagon with holes in the floor, or mowing the lawn in a Batman t-shirt. In the summertime, he could be found in the saddle or visiting family and friends in tribal lands across Montana, Wyoming, South Dakota, and Oklahoma. He loved to sing old Bible folk songs with his children, and his voice will be dearly missed. To share another song at this time, like I said, Father Powell was allowed into our holiest of ceremonies. Got to spend time around a lot of our holy people, our medicine people, ceremonial people. And, they allowed him to do that, So he had to be real special person, for a non-Cheyenne to be allowed into those ceremonies and around those kind of people. I know Sundance time, you could always find Father Powell there. Our Sacred Arrow ceremony in Oklahoma, he was there too, Sweat lodges, our other ceremonies that we had, So at this time, I'm going to sing a Sundance song. Father Powell heard these songs, he was there, and I'd like to share that today with all of you. Heard about Father Powell when I was was growing up, and especially from my uncles, you know, and the older people, they you know, taught me a lot. And, but Father Powell was, you know, part of my teachings. You know, they would talk about him and him being around, you know, and him going to the ceremonies and whatnot. And I remember one of my uncles was at our sacred mountain, Bear Butte, which is in Sturgis, South Dakota. And Father Powell had went through that fasting ceremony that the Cheyennes have there at the mountain. And it goes back to what I said, you know for him to really believe in our spirituality, really to believe in our Cheyenne ceremonies, to actually make a promise, a vow to go through one of our Cheyenne ceremonies, and for them to allow him to go through our ceremony, that's it says something, you know, about Father Powell. Myself, I have fasted at our sacred mountains as well. You know, I know what he went through. I know the ceremony that he went through at our sacred mountain, Bear Butte. So, I have another song here. We sing it there at our sacred mountain when someone's going to fast there. It's part of the ceremony, you know. And I know they sing this song when Father Powell was there as well. So at this time, I'm going to sing that song. Okay, at this time, I'm going to call upon Linwood Toggle again to come up and say a few words. Again, Linwood Toggle is a descendant of Chief Toggle, a dog soldier, chief headsman. Linwood is also one of our headsmen of the Dog Soldier Warrior Society, also a member of our American Indian Advisory Council, one of our elders, one of our instructors at Chief Bonlac College, really knowledgeable about our Cheyenne way of life.
Maybe my name should be short. Well, and I try to keep a lot of humor in my teachings. And I tell my students, I says, before we graduate, you're going to have the right to take the T off of my name. I try to teach with a lot of humor because they say that the Cheyenne people were the laughingest people. Our language, our stories are more funny when they're spoken in Cheyenne. And for Father Powell, he was respected so much that they gave him that name, Stone Forehead. Oh, now I had done it. And it's kind of fitting for Father Powell because we believe that everything has life. And only the stones live forever. Father Powell was named after one of our first arrow keepers, Stone Forehead, who spoke with General Custer and gave General Custer a pipe to smoke there. General Custer had promised that he would never hurt the Cheyenne again. So he smoked that pipe, and Stone Forehead, the arrow keeper, cleaned the pipe and dumped the ashes on General Custer's, the heel of his boot. And this is, we believe, he violated that law with the pipe because the pipe represents our Bible. And you have to tell the truth if you're going to smoke with the pipe. Father Powell knew all of this. He was so respectful. All of the hardest priests of in our tribe, the Sundance priests, the arrow priests, all of them sacred priests welcomed Father Powell to their houses. He was a great friend to them. And it's very fitting for Father Powell because since the stone lives forever, Father Powell was named after that stone with the stone forehead. His teachings will live forever. His books and all of his words and all of his memories will live forever because the stone lives forever. He was present at my mother and my father's burials. He came from Chicago. He did the blessings for them. But he was always so welcome in our home. With every Cheyenne family, they respected him so much. He was so humble. Father Powell will be dearly missed. But we're going to always remember, whenever we'll see the qualities in people, the humbleness, people that are always welcome to our home, that always have good words to say. Father Powell was in all of our ceremonies, fasting with all the chiefs and the holy priests. He was allowed into our Sundance Lodge to take pictures, and he visited with all of them. He recorded all of the different paints that went to certain dances. And he recorded all of those, all of the history, people of the Sacred Mountain, and all the rest couldn't be told to a woman. When Margaret Liberty did her study on the reservation, she too was very close to John Stanson Timber. But there are certain things that the ceremonial people would not share with her. They couldn't share with her. Father Powell was able to collect these things. And because of it, we still have our strong ceremonies. We know what kind of paints that each dancer needs to use. He recorded all of these. The people that he became friends with, I was scared of them. It wasn't really fear, it was respect. You never look them in the eye. So when you see Cheyennes and you think of Father Powell, when you spoke with him, he never looked you in the eye. See, some cultures say, look in her eye, see if they're telling the truth. Well, with within the Cheyenne and the Indian culture, you always look down. This is affording them respect. This is what Father Powell was so famous at. He was always welcome. Everybody loved him. They'll always remember Father Powell. No one has ever been named that, given that name, Stone Forehead. In our Cheyenne dictionary, they say Stone Forehead, that belongs to Father Powell. No one will ever be named that. We'll always remember that that name was given because he was so interested in our ceremonial ways in preserving our culture and our history. And there's so many other words that's going to be added to their people's experience with Father Powell. But I will miss him dearly. Our society will miss him. But in our hearts, we'll thank him for saving our culture, saving our history. He was a great man. He'll not be forgotten. We'll always lay food for the spirits. And we know that Father Powell will be there with all the grandfathers and all those that have gone before us. They welcome him. Thank you.
Thank you, Linwood. He's one of our, he's really good at telling stories, Linwood. I had been visiting Father Powell from time to time, and right up here he had his cabin, his home up here. When I heard he was around, I'd drive up there. Any of you that have ever been up there, there's several buildings, It's not just one home, it's not one cabin, but there's several buildings. And I showed up in the morning and went to that one building and I knocked on it. Of course, Father Powell answered the door. He said, "Come on in. I'm just getting ready for Mass, I'm ready to do Mass. You want to join me?" I said, "Yeah." I was with my friend Keith Clement. Keith's body with him. We went in there. It's a real honor to have Mass with Father Powell there. And then, of course, later on we went into the cabin. And, we sat and visited with Christina was there, and John. As we were leaving, I spent all day with him, and as we were leaving, he kind of pulled me aside and he said, "How did you know where I was in the morning?" I told him, "Well, the spirits told me." He kind of laughed, and he said, "I wouldn't expect any other answer." But I didn't know. I just went up to the first building I saw. It just happened to be there. We have one of our ceremonies that we no longer have, and it's called the animal dance. And the last one was performed in 1911 in Reindeer. And the last ones to perform that ceremony was my grandfather and grandmother. And my great-grandfather, great-grandmother. They did that ceremony to heal my grandmother. And at that time, she was a little girl, and she was sick at the time. And anyway, so 1911, they performed this animal dance. Frank Littlewolf and his wife, Katie Red Sleeves. And that was the last time that ceremony was ever done on the Northern Cheyenne Reservation. soon after that, the federal government outlawed ceremonies for Native people. They outlawed our language. They were trying to convert us or turn us into other people. But they really put a ban on our ceremonies and our language. And that's the reason why we have that loss of language today, and we have that loss of our way of life. So federal government policies, the Christian policies. But part of that ceremony, there was a wolf bundle that my great-grandfather had kept. And in the 1950s, my great-grandfather passed away, and the family at the time turned that medicine bundle over to Father Powell for safekeeping. And so he took that medicine bundle to Chicago, and he had it there for a long time. And I remember my uncle would, Myron Talbot, some of you might know him, but he would hitchhike, from Langdeer, no money. He would hitchhike out to Chicago, and he would always tell me his story, hitchhiking stories, his travel stories, going to go see Father Powell, and he would always check on that medicine bundle. And Father Powell, of course, would buy his bus ticket back, to Montana. But my family, about 10 years ago, it's more than that, 15 years ago, we called a meeting with Father Powell to make sure he still had that bundle. And then we let Father Powell know that the family wanted it back. And he agreed, he agreed. And so it was about 10 years ago that, Father Powell, the family, I remember the family coming along as well. They came to Langdeer and brought that bundle back. But right at the reservation line, the border there, we were waiting for a police escort. It's one of our most holiest medicine bundles, that we have in the tribe. And so we wanted a police escort from the reservation line all the way into Langdeer. But we were there waiting, beautiful, it was green like this, We've seen a lot of wildlife, we're Father Powell, all of us were, hey, there's an eagle, there's, we're talking about different wildlife. And somebody seen, kind of off in the distance, we seen a black figure on the hill there. And, I don't think any of us had good eyes, but we were trying to make out what is that? What kind of animal is that? Is it I looking, we started coming over the hill. We kept watching it. The animal dance, it kind of brings animals, and there's healing. There's a lot to it. It was one of our biggest ceremonies. So we were kind of making connections with, bringing this animal bundle back and seeing all this wildlife, signs. Those are signs to us as Native people. But anyway, I was the first to notice it. We were all looking at that dark figure. I said, hey, that was just a black Angus cow. I never heard Father Powell laugh so hard. It was funny. Anyway, we had brought the bundle back, and it was really overcast, and everything was wet. The weather. And Donovan Taylor, he's right here. I'm going to bring him up shortly. He was there in that teepee when Father Powell brought that bundle back, and there was a moment there where the clouds opened up, and the sun, the only place that sun shined was right on that teepee, where that bundle was, and it just lit up that whole teepee. And to me, it shined right on that bundle, but everybody noticed that everybody remembered it, so we all experienced the power, the mysteries of, of that time, that occasion. When I was a young boy, my grandmother was taken to the ER in Reindeer, and this is the grandmother that the ceremony was done for. And I remember we got in a truck, my father, my mother, we went to the ER. Her name was Susan Littlewolf. Was married to my grandpa Joe Toggle, who's Linwood's uncle. Anyway, we're at the ER, and I remember my Uncle Miles was there, my Uncle Myron, they were all in there, my mom went in there. And anyway, I went back out to the truck with my dad, and we see these big black clouds coming to Reindeer, big thunderstorms coming, just really black. And as it got over Reindeer, there was one loud thunder. I mean, it was really loud. And at that same time as my grandmother passed away, that really stuck in my mind. And I was only about maybe 8 years old, at the time. And I really remember that. And clouds were they looked like they were just right on top of the buildings. I mean, I've never seen anything like it since, Anyway, this past Wednesday, we had the services in Reindeer, and that morning, it was about 4 o'clock in the morning, suddenly woke up. It was really raining, really heavy rain. And then all of a sudden, there was this loud boom, really loud thunder. And it was the only one. No other thunder, no other thunder before that, no other thunder after that. And then all the people in Reindeer were talking about it the next day. Did you hear that? And it woke me up, it woke me up. It was really loud thunder. And that was the day we did the funeral, the services for Father Powell, Reindeer, just a couple of days ago. There's a connection there, Father Powell took care of this bundle for a long time. And, I wouldn't be here. That ceremony, that bundle saved my grandmother. I wouldn't be here without that ceremony. I really thank Father Powell for taking care of that bundle. Thank his family. It's a special place in my heart. But at this time, I want to call upon Mahako. It's a Cheyenne name, Donovan Taylor. Come up, say a few words. I've also asked him to sing a chief song. As you know, Father Powell was one of our chiefs. Donovan Taylor, again, is one of our singers. Comes from a chief's family, lives in Busby, Montana. Donovan Veritas comes from a Veritas family. So I invited him down. He knew Father Powell as well. Invited him to come say a few words and to share some songs as well.
When I was growing up in my youth, I had an identity crisis. All these things on TV, hearing Cheyenne language, it did something to me. I never really wanted to know my culture until I went to out of state and discovered that judged for my skin color. And I dropped out of school, and so
So when I went back home, I started discovered that there's a identity that there was something on the reservation that had something I didn't know until I was so happy to be home. Regret despising the Cheyenne language, and that's when I wanted to learn. And when I started learning history and wanted to learn the language, that's Father Powell had them Cheyenne language, history books. My mother used to say that. Peter Powell, no. It was to Peter Powell, no. And Cheyenne, it's like, wow, he's learning that. Must have he used to read those and all. It did something to me. But you had to, later I learned you had to have rights to be at the Sundance and stuff. To earn things, medicine. And that's when I had to hold off because I wasn't ready for that. This really hard life to pick up, especially in pipe. You can't be violent. I was still at my teenage years, still experiencing bullying, fighting. But anyway, I had acquired this song through luck. So many people gave me a tape to listen to, Sundance song. And I recognized this song in there. It's one of our Chiefs, original Chiefs songs. And I'm going to see that one here for Powell here, since he was inducted to our Chief Society. But my grandfather was Wilson Pine. And I think he might have been in that cert that I called this song for the video. And I'm also doing a book on the Cheyenne Chiefs. Just to mention that there's traditional chiefs, there's hereditary chiefs, and there's honorable chiefs such as Paul, one of the four old men, and the hereditary chiefs were having a lot of difficulty about bloodlines that are more or less dying off. But it's really interesting. And the Chief Society was in the bundle of the Sacred Covenant. And Father Powell was really instrumental in that. And when I did my own research in that, it's in Cheyenne too. It's really intricate. Sometimes he'll have illustrations in Cheyenne. And I didn't know, but now since I know now, it was really interesting because I lucky just with that writing, I know it now because I studied linguistics through Wayne Beeman, who just recovered an illness recently. I also mentioned him as well. And I think he knew Powell too. They shared linguistics and stuff. So this is the Stormman vehicle. We sang it the best way I could. And all these guys knew Powell. They're gone as well, way before he passed. I think he outlived most of them. It's real special to me to sing for you all here. This war bond is made from real plumes, real golden eagle, and real young golden eagle here. So finally, I finished it just last night. It's really, I've been doing this for like, what, 10 years? And I still have other feathers. I make it in Native American church. I'm still working on some of them. I finally completed a scissor tail from Oklahoma, a flycatcher. That took me 17 years. And I was supposed to use it with my elders, but they passed on the Native American church. But one of these days, maybe it's not meant. Such as this. Look at, I put this on. He's not here. I'm sure he'd like to see this thing. Because these ones are whitetail. Homesteaders in the woods, the Sitla people, they depend on this animal. It's real sacred to them too. Real fast, you shoot them with a high-powered gun, they can still run half a mile. But the other things, they just die. Even elk dies, even buffalo. Well, sometimes buffalo, but buffalo and the whitetail are almost hand in hand. They're real tough. And I was seeing our headsman here when he came up to speak in Linwood. We usually come around clockwise, but we've been going this way, counterclockwise. In our culture, Sutta, he goes this way. So maybe Powell was a Sutta. I could go on and on, but I want to mention some other stuff that I read, which is really significant today. In that Cheyenne Sundance, I read, he said, in that area, they're not supposed to be any kind of animosity. Now, in Cheyenne, it would be, except he said, oh, what's inside that? And nowadays, we have that. It's going on. I don't think we realize just how much disharmony that our people are creating. And for us young people to try to address this, oh, you're young. Oh, you're, this and that. Well, I'm getting midlife now. Maybe they might listen to me. So, but anyway, I remember saying those things in English, and now I can interpret it in Cheyenne. At the time, I didn't know how to do that. And I'm still learning Cheyenne. Like I say, I didn't know what's to, So I wanted to share that too, learning my language best way I can. And sometimes it's real difficult. No.
At this time, I'm asking Donovan here to sing us a memorial song for Father Powell, to honor Father Powell and what he did here in the museum, for his life. So at this time, I'm asking Donovan for a memorial song. We can please stand while he's singing.
Linwood, it just to see this. Hohana, Hana done it. I owe him. Hana done it. I owe him a second basket.
Hey, yo.
Yeah, you can be seated. Thank you for your reverence there. At this time, I've asked Donovan to sing one more song. It's a journey song for Father Powell as he makes his journey home. This is a Cheyenne journey song.
Just forgot to clarify that memorial song meant stone forehead. Where did you go? We're expecting it. That's also when the warriors they didn't return. So asking where'd they go? Where are you? Journey song.
Hey, hey yo. Maheo Naveseo, Naveseo, Maheo Naveseo, Yaheo, Yaheo, Heyo.
All right, hold on a bit. Hold on, yes. Now, hold on, Dan. Start off say, start it, do it, start off the moment, and reaction, and then dance, and mark the reaction. Thank you. That concludes our Northern Cheyenne portion of it. I'll turn it back over to Kendra at this time. Thank you. Good hope. Thank you.
Thank you, Wallace. Thank you, Linwood and Donovan. I'd now like to invite Thomas Yellowtail, another member of our American Indian Advisory Council, to the stage. And Thomas is the Crow Sundance Chief.
I wanted to, I had a plan about everything, how I was gonna do everything, and had my sons coming, and I was gonna get up and smudge and have them go around and smudge everybody, and somebody said branding time. So my sons all took off. So I changed my plans. When we lose a loved one, we go into mourning. We usually mourn for, traditionally it's like a year. And sometimes when our families are involved in certain things, in certain activities, whether it's basketball or business or whatever they're doing, they have to go out and be in public and be around people and step up in the forefront. And one of the things that we do is we have a ceremony that we call the wiping of the tears. And so I'm not going to do the whole ceremony because it's a fight. There's a fight involved and stuff. But I want to do this because of the family. I'd like you guys to come on, the grandchildren and the immediate family. And I will do something real quick. And then I'll say a prayer. And so when we talk about wiping the tears, we all have a heaviness in our hearts from losing somebody close, and somebody that means so much to us. And we've all lost somebody who has influenced each and every one of us in one way or another. And I would like to ask you guys to open up your heart and feel the love that you've shared with him, the things that you went through as I do this. And so that when you leave here today, I hope that I can release some of that pressure, ease some of that strain on you, so that when you leave here, you feel better. Sometimes when as Crow people, we sit in the background after this, when we're mourning. We sit in the back and wait for our mourning to come over. But when we do this, we're asking you to not wear too much black, not feel heavy, but feel good about the life that the Creator has shared with you. He's been here, and He allowed us to receive whatever. Each and every one of us has something different. Each and every one of us has something that He has taught us and shown us, or just being who He was. My grandfather and my grandmother adopted him into our family. And so my aunt here was his sister. And so when they did that, it was kind of funny because he used to call my grandpa father and my grandfather used to call me son. And so when I stepped into this role and he asked me to come here, I didn't really know too much about him, all that. You know, we didn't really spend too much time before this. And so when he came here, he started calling me Father Tom. And so in Crow Way, he's still my father. Because in Crow Way, our brothers' children are our children. Our sisters' children are our brothers and sisters. So, because of my dad, he's still my father. So, I call him Father Keith. So anyway, I want you guys to just pray with me and feel the presence, because we know he's here. He's here watching all of us, asking for our blessings. Asking that we carry on what it is that he has put within each and every one of us. And like I said, it's something different. He's touching something. And carry it now to the future. Carry it in a good way that you will remember to play on that day. Okay, thank you. Yeah, I'll finish. One of the things that that was really important to Father Pete was the bundles and the things that he cared for. The things that we brought to the museum. I always wanted to talk with Ken and the way we talk about the things that are there. And Father Pete always talked about them as though they have their own spirit. They have their own life. They weren't created for art. They were created to wear. And we see them as art now. But when the crows, when we moved camp, we dressed in our finest. And the wives, the mothers and the sisters, they wanted their men to look their best. And they wanted to look their best. So they would dress like that. So when you go to Crow Fair, you see the parade. That's what it is. The parade of we're showing our best. And it wasn't to, well, maybe today now, for art. But back then it wasn't. The things, the objects that you have within here, they weren't created that way. They were created. And a lot of times those beads that are on there were on other things that they took apart to remake something else. And so when we look at them and we touch them and we admire them, we have to think about that. That it wasn't just an art object that's sitting in there. That Father Pete cared for us for so many years in Chicago and then created this place for us to see him. For everybody. And for you guys also, I talked to you about the same thing. You guys are here, you guys are part of this. And I ask also that this smudging go around to everybody here and release whatever you have within you that hurts for him not being here. So I'm going to go ahead and can you all hear me?
Yes.
So I'm going to say a prayer and ask that you all stand up with me. place that we're standing in, close by here, is where the Crows first planted their tobacco seed. And that was one of the things when we got to the baptism, we left. We took corn, we took tobacco, they planted the corn someplace else, it didn't grow. They held on to the tobacco seed, and they planted it here and it grew in this valley. And we still have our tobacco society, and they still plant tobacco, the same what has grown on from them till now. I just wanted to say that because Father Pete had mentioned that to me when he asked me to come here and talk about this place being in this spot was something that was dear to us. And Zakare, Baba Echish, Baba Echish. I come to you today in prayer asking for blessings for all of us that are here. Many of us have come from far distance to be here. You have taken a loved one from us. But we thank you for allowing him to be with us this many years, to share his love, his care, his wisdom, and all the things that he was to us. Many times some of us enjoy just the presence of being with him. Not talking, but just being with him. And sharing what it is that you gave. Strength, humbleness, spirituality that is surrounding him. We ask that you bless all each and every one of us with that. Let us carry that from this place to wherever it is that we're going in this world. Whether it be back to our own homes close by, back to Chicago, down south, wherever we're going, let us carry that with us. So that when somebody comes up to us, they also can feel that. And I ask that you bless this ground, this hollow ground. Many times prayers have been given. You have asked for many things here, and I believe it's been received, and we thank you for that. We ask that you look into our hearts, each and every one of us, so that we can find what it is that we're looking for. If we're stumbling, allow us to find our way back under the path that you created for us. I ask that you don't put us back on that path, but I ask that you allow us to find the courage and strength within us to draw the way back up onto that path and keep on going in a good way that you intended us to do as our God. Again, I thank you for all the people that are here, the staff that is here as our Father. Bless them. Give them strength. Honor them in a good way so that they can carry on doing the job that they're doing here. For all the people and children that come here as our Father. You know that they show the children what is going on here. And the minds that the children have, they will remember this. We remember things when we're little kids. Maybe we might not ever see it again, but somewhere in our minds it'll be there, and we ask that you help them to do this. The elders that have come back to this area that haven't been here for many years, they see how beautiful it is, and they remember the things that they did in the past. And they see this new building here. They understand that too is something that will stand for many, many years. As long as keep it going. As long as we do the house. Again, I thank you for all of this. I thank you for the board that created the board that oversees it. The council, right, and the advisory council that helps oversee and bring in new things for this place is out there. Keep us going strong, keep us going in the positive direction you intend us to do is out there. Many people that are involved, I think, in different places and different ideas, that's what keeps us going in a good way. That's what keeps us interested, keeps us strong. So again, I thank you.
invite Vivian Arvizo and Sarah Luther forward. Vivian is also a member of the museum's American Indian Advisory Council, and she and Sarah and Bill Patton here, who's helping us up and down our stairs, thank you, Bill. They serve together as board members for the Honoring Project, and this is an effort on their behalf to install a memorial in Sheridan remembering All American Indian Days, and they would like to share a few words on behalf of that effort.
Thank you so very much. You are my children today, and I welcome you. I am here with Sarah, my younger sister. I think the Cheyennes have been blessed to have Father Peter Powell for all these years, because you know he was really assigned to come to Navajo. Both of us are Navajo, and he missed all those years of sheep herding, so he's very lucky. He was supposed to come to St. Christopher's Mission. The bishop had assigned him there after he graduated from seminary school. And so he found him, they started building his home for his family, and they call it the Powell House. But he never lived there because the bishop said, "You're needed in Chicago." And so he went to Chicago to handle the new arrival of Native people on the relocation program that the BIA started. So you're very fortunate as Cheyennes to have him for all these years. Our friendship, and you know, there's been so many things that have come through the years that we've known Father Peter Powell. He really is a part of our lives and our families, and he touched all of our hearts, and he made us think about Native culture and the preservation of culture, and we've listened to what he has to say. I think, speaking for Sarah and myself, our friendship began over 60 years ago through All American Indian Days. And those of you that don't know about it, Father Pete was a judge for the Miss Indian America contest or pageant. And I was Miss Indian America in 1960. Sarah was Miss Indian America in 1967. So you can do the math. All American Indian Days was started by the people of Sheridan. And the thing that is so unique about it is that the mission was to eliminate racial discrimination against Native Americans. It was a really courageous thing for a little town of 11,000 people to decide to do. And they started it in 1953, long before civil rights laws were being passed in this country. It ended in 1984 for many other reasons, but it was a good mission. And as Miss Indian Americas, we were a part of that legacy. Father Pete always kept in touch with us through the years. And I'd like to have Sarah tell you about the memorial that we've been working on for the last 4 years. That is going to be downtown across from the Sheridan Inn. We're going to have this memorial to the people who welcome thousands of Native Americans to come to Sheridan for the annual All American Indian Days. And we've also counted all the young women who competed for Miss Indian America, and that number is over 2,000. So it affected a lot of people all across Indian country. So I want Sarah, because this is her vision, I want her to tell you about it.
Father Powell touched my heart, touched my life. Thank you for sharing him with me, the family. Really appreciate such a wonderful man. And thank you too, I see Connie here, for being here, Connie. Thank you, Tom, for what you shared with your culture. And thank you, Wallace, for enlightening Father's life and sharing that with us. It means a lot. We will carry this from this day forward, remembering your words, remembering your prayers, and the songs. It will always be with us. Thank you so much. And thank you for coming here to celebrate with us this wonderful, wonderful man that he was just incredible. I met him in 1967. He was the head judge, and over the years, he stayed in touch with me. It seemed like he just knew when to reach out. It seemed like he knew when he should write me a note. It seemed like he knew when he should call me. During my downtimes, he lifted me up, and I am forever grateful. When I started to think about the All-American Indian Days Memorial, this was in 2013. We came back here to Sheridan, and I looked around and I thought, there is not a sign, there is not a building, there is not even a street sign that says or mention All-American Indian Days. There were so many fine people that helped with the celebration. The Yellowtails, the Deer Notes from the Crow Country, and from Northern Cheyenne, there were many people, and from the Arapaho Nation, the Shoshone people. They were here to celebrate, to start the organization with the people of Sheridan. And Father Powell was one of them that had this vision to address racism for the Native people. And I thought, something needs to be done. Something that the future generation will remember and will be an example to the rest of the country. So Vivian and I started this journey. And it's been hard, it's been long. We've had some low and down times, but Father Powell was always there, again, once more, to give us encouraging words, to say you can do this. Now, what else can I do for you? We were just starting to talk about our vision. Long before we had started the funds, the financial setup, he sent us our first huge donation. I thought, oh my gosh, what do we do with this? And then so we told him we had to send the check back because our bank account was not set up yet. So that he was just right there to help us. And I'm forever grateful. And even when he served as our advisory, I miss him. And he just kind of was like there all the time to encourage us. And when we had heard that he was in the hospital and that I think John, you called and said, call him, talk to him. He's just arriving home from the hospital last December. So we both got on the phone, called him, and he was so chipper, upbeat, and he said, I'll talk to you later. I'm going to do Mass now. You just got home from the hospital. So he was just full of energy. And to have that, a person like that, to have be so full of encouragement for us all the time, that really kept us going. And I'm forever grateful to him. And of course, we had hope that during the dedication he would be here, but he will be here when we do our dedication later in the year. And again, thank you so much for being here and helping us celebrate this wonderful individual, a humanitarian, and he just humble. I mean, there's not enough things I can say to, about him that really, really helped me as a person, that has helped me in life, and I'm forever grateful. Again, thank you, family members, for sharing him with us.
Just to let you know that the memorial will be across from the Sheridan Inn. It'll feature a sculpture. It's going to be about 12 feet tall, and it will tell the story of All-American Indian Days. There will be memorial benches, and one of those benches is designated for the judges, and Father Peter Powell's name is engraved on that bench. So please, when it is done, please come back and visit the memorial there. He was an advisor to us. He gave us support and guidance and encouragement. And in our last call, we laughed together. He called Sarah and I the dynamic duo. And we laughed because he said this so often that we said, now we need to get some capes so we can look like superheroes. But he was a superhero, and that's how we saw him, because he guided us through so much. We sometimes said good news, bad news when we would talk with him, and which one do you want to hear first? And he would say, oh, we'll have another prayer on that. We'll send another prayer up there. It's kind of stacking up, but we'll send another one. So he really was so supportive. We want to recognize his contributions, and in his absence, we would like to honor his children in remembrance of him. He would understand our gesture is along with wiping away the tears, that you will remember him and you will take comfort that he was so loved by others. So we have some gifts that we would like to give, so we'll go down here. I have a teacher's voice, so you will hear me. Father had a grandson who accompanied him and who did so many things to help him in his later years. We would like to honor Nate Powell. Please come up. Mary Jane Edwards from the Gentle Artist Residency is one of our advisors to the project, the honoring project. And also Kendra Heinrich, sorry, is also an advisor. We really appreciate their contributions to the project. And of course, Sarah and I work with Bill Patton here, who's a descendant of one of the founders of All American Indian Days families here. Thank you so much for your attention.
Thank you, Vivian. Thank you, Sarah. At this point, we've created a little bit of space in the program for members of our American Indian Advisory Council who would like to come up and share any stories or memories, prayer, song, whatever it is that you're feeling moved to share with the group right now. So we don't have an order, so I'm just going to look for cues from the room, and if anyone wants to come up, they can.
I'm not gonna go up there and solve that. I'm just really actually recovering from a fall recently, and my right shoulder is never gonna be the same. Father Powell has been called many things, and one of them, of course, was his generosity. And he was very, very generous with me. One Christmas, I remember, we weren't doing very well. My daughter had disappeared, and I was raising her 6 children. And do you remember that, Mary Ellen? It was a real bad time for us. It's over now, and my daughter is well and fine. But one Christmas, he sent me a check. He said, "This is for you to spend however you want." So I thought, well, what am I going to do with this? And I told my grandchildren, I'm going to go buy you some Christmas gifts. And they're from Father Peter Powell from Chicago, Illinois. So I went shopping, and I came home and put them under the tree. They were in a special place. And when my grandchildren opened them, they said, "Grandma, who is he?" So I had them turn around. I said, "Face northeast." And so they did. And I said, "Raise your hand." And they all went like this. And then one of my grandchildren, Georgie, he sort of a history buff. He said, "Grandma, some white people do this when they're thinking about someone named Adolf Hitler." So, you're absolutely right. Raise your left hand. It's closest to the heart. Face northeast. And I said, "Thank you, Father, for this Christmas." I'm sorry, Tom. You just wiped our tears at you. I quit again. My name is Mardell Plainfeather. My co-name is Bahinaja, always working. And Father Paul
calling him as Father Pete. That's how I knew him all my life. So this morning when we were eating breakfast, Vivian and Sarah, we were reminiscing about my first memories of Father Pete. And I said, you know, I grew up, he's always been around. He was around my whole life. I just grew up calling him Father Pete. I had so much respect for him, even though he was my uncle. And I always remember the memories of him coming. We were raised with Grandma and Grandpa, and he would come and always be with Grandma and Grandpa and just be around our family. So I'm really going to miss him. The last time I got to spend time with him was, I believe, about a year and a half ago, and he came to visit his sister, my auntie mom. And there was a film crew from PBS Montana doing a story on the women of Montana. I'll share it with you now. I checked it because my internet's working. It's called The Story of Us, and it focuses on 4 outstanding women of Montana. And you can find it on YouTube right now, so you don't have to go to PBS. But it aired Thanksgiving this past year. And Grandma was one of the women that they chose because she was one of the first Native American registered nurses in the United States. As well with All-American Indian Days, I believe she was given the title by the Committee of All-American Indian Days as the first Mrs. Indian America. Because she was the chaperone to people like Vivian and Sarah and so many other Miss Indian Americas throughout the years. And I'm really appreciative that my brother could pray for the family. And I want you to know that, you know, in our belief ways, our families that go on to the other side camp, they never really leave us. They're always with us. And we know that during our Sundance time, when we have our Sundance, that those that have gone on before us are always there, dancing with us and praying with us. And I have so much respect for Father Pete, and I'm gonna miss him. But, you know, no more tears, and we will continue on because what he started here was phenomenal. It affected thousands of people, not just here, but in Chicago and all over the world, actually. And I want you all to remember that as we move forward. We need to carry on. That's something that I had a hard time learning in losing my grandma and grandpa, because they were such big, outstanding figures, not just for our family, but for many others around the world. You know, we can never step into their shoes. However, they taught us many, many valuable things, many lessons. And it's now our turn. One day I woke up as I was grieving, in my grieving process. And how do we go on without them? But we must, because they instilled in us those values that they carried. And we have to share with those generations yet to come. And so I really wanted to share that with you. And thank you for today.
Sam's the board president, he gets to go first.
Well, thank you, Ken. I'll remember that.
But I noticed we did go.
No, we didn't. Boy, I welcome you all here. And I want you to know that Father Powell's mission is not gone. I was privileged yesterday to sit in on our American Indian Council, Advisory Council meeting yesterday. And I will tell you that the meeting started in deep sorrow. There were tears. There were our council was really crushed. But we got on to that we still had a mission. Father Powell actually insisted on the advisory council. He was very adamant about it, and I think in my hindsight that it occurred before I was a member of the board. It was one of probably the most valuable things that has happened to our museum here. And Thomas kind of edged on it a little bit, but there are many things that I learned from Father Powell. I was raised in Lander with the Shoshone and Arapaho. We were great friends. We kids, we banged around. We had a lot of fun. And the only thing I knew about the culture was that Leslie No Sleep's grandmother, when I stayed at their place, would tell us if we got into trouble, the little people would get us. And I had no idea who the little people were. Yeah, it was very forceful in that culture. But that's all I really knew in terms of culture and the friendships that I had. I'm going to say in my late 20s, I ran across a couple of books at a bookstore, Sweet Medicine. And it really changed my outlook on the Indians and Indian culture. And of course, then I had to get copies of People of the Sacred Mountain to understand it. And it was kind of an epiphany for me. Before, and unfortunately, a lot of our tourists, the only thing they know about the Indians are the battlefields that are in the area. And that's Indians to them. And it goes so much farther than that. Their culture, and Thomas earlier had talked about their clothing and some of those. And most people look at it as it's a fashion statement. It isn't a fashion statement. It's a spiritual statement. And people don't understand that. And I'm hoping that we can help people understand who the indigenous people are. And I'd like, they've got a big task ahead of them. They're not going to take Father Powell's place, but I'm sure they're going to stay with his mission. But with the members of the advisory council, Thomas and Wallace and Craig and Linwood and
Please stand up, Norma.
yeah,
Mardell.
these folks have but I want to give them a special thanks, and I'm looking for good things ahead for the Plains Indians. I think we need to be a big voice and a voice that travels as well. Yeah.
Thank you, Sam. Appreciate it. Well, I get to close without hopefully not crying. But, I knew Father Powell about 34 years, and he built this place. Without his help, without his encouragement, I wouldn't be here. You wouldn't be here. This marvelous collection wouldn't be here. Without Father Powell's commitment to the native people and to the area here, and his belief that this was a sacred site and sacred to many of the native communities, we wouldn't have got that collection back. And without that, Forest Mars wouldn't have given us the money to build that building. And it was a work that took many years and a lot of cajoling on both sides, but it was one hell of a lot of fun. And I really miss both of those gentlemen. And I'm going to have to stop. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ken. And thank you all for joining in this lovely event. Your presence here means the world, and you all have made this event very meaningful, and it will stay with us here at the museum. As we enter or close out this part of the event today, we're going to proceed down into the museum, and we have a buffet lunch set up in the Mars Gallery. There should be plenty of seating in the gallery space in the bistro. If you want to come outdoors and enjoy a seat on the patio, you're welcome to do so, and just enjoy one another's fellowship. So thank you so much.